So if he doesn't agree with me 1%, burn it down. What did you build? And my answer for the radical left is so far in my history, and having done this for 25, 30 years, the radical left has built nothing that the American people absolutely hate, and you want to tear down everyone else on the left. I'm going to
vibes are off.
Fight you. Me. Okay, I'm not interested in your crap. Take your crap somewhere else. Don't worry, there's a million shows now. They'll feed you that crap every day, that crap sandwich. Oh yeah, we're the purest.
Crap sandwich.
Yell Nazi louder. Oh, I'm sorry, I burned him down, I burned him. What did you burn down?
The vibes are off. I'm sorry, I just don't know how else to say it. Man, I keep reflecting on how fucking tense it must feel in that fucking studio right now. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is not comfortable to watch. It's not good to look at, man. I feel like the kid in the room who knows I'm not getting yelled at, it's like someone else's parent that's doing the yelling at the kid, but I still feel like I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not yelling at me, but like, why do I feel shame still?
Okay, here, I'll read it for you guys. Leox writes in, to Cenk, who paternalistically believes that he can set the timetable for another man's freedom, who lives by a mythical concept of time, and who constantly advises the trans to wait for a more convenient season. Sit down. First of all, I appreciate the $20. So second of all, yeah, no, you're absolutely wrong, and I don't care what you think, and you don't care what I think, we're even, okay? So if you say to me, hey, I'm gonna protect Muslim rights by spray painting Hamas all over statues in DC and burning the American flag, I'm gonna tell you, hey, moron, that doesn't protect my rights. That actually makes things way, way worse. So please sit down, because you're an idiot who's totally and utterly counterproductive. And do you speak for all trans people? I don't know who you are, okay? But
Brianna Wu told me something different.
Women, they 100% agree with me. Do they speak for all trans people? Of course not. No one speaks for all trans people, all Muslim people, all Americans, no matter who online yells louder. Oh, I'm the one protecting them because I have the most counterproductive.
Cenk's the yelling the loudest at the moment, I should just note. But yeah, I mean, I think that this chatter is getting at something in the wrong way. Like, the chatter and Cenk simply disagree on this, and that's just something that the chatter sort of frankly needs to get over. You know what I mean? If you frame it like that, it's just like, it's not helpful. Now, I still disagree with Cenk, and I still think he's wrong, but like, at the end of the day, it's just a disagreement.
Productive moronic strategy where we go super extreme, and when we go that extreme, the Americans will love us. No, they won't. They'll hate trans people. Don't do that to them. By the way,
they'll hate trans people because maybe because you're not making the argument good enough, mate. Why is it that Trump can steer the narrative whatever fucking direction that he wants, but when it comes to Democrats and us actually saying things, it's just like, oh, well, people aren't there yet. Well, let's get them there. We need the rhetoric and the advocacy to protect these people. I'm interested in working towards a world where these folks are protected. And I know you are too, Cenk, but like, we have to think about the ways in which that's feasible. And I feel like just backing off of the issue and not engaging with certain things is not okay. And I don't think that you're doing that. You're just disagreeing with some of the more mainstream positions on trans rights. Mainstream on the left, at least, right?
Every one of the people who say we're anti or I'm anti-trans is a giant liar, okay?
Yeah,
so for example, I did Jillian Michaels' interview. I get Jillian to agree, yes, trans people should be protected in bathrooms. They should be able to go to any bathroom they like. They should be protected in the military, and they shouldn't be kicked out of the military. Did anyone ever tell you that in the shows that you were watching? Of course not. They just said, oh my God, he said that they shouldn't be forced into professional sports.
I'm shocked that Jillian said that they should be protected in bathrooms. From the way she was treating the conversation with Sam Cedar, I would have guessed that she wouldn't have conceded to that, but also I could see her lying too and switching based on who she's talking to, so whatever.
Dare he? I am the great protector of trans people, and I will tell you what is true, and I speak for all trans people and all marginal people.
Thanks, man. That's me.
Crap. You don't speak for anyone. So run your mouth, and I don't care. And you think you're like Martin Luther King because you have these insane ideas of putting like.
Look, all I'm saying is it crazy for me to say that John's probably sitting in the room thinking to himself, what the fuck happened to TYT? What the fuck happened to this company? We used to have fun. But I feel like this isn't fun. Cenk just seems like really angry. Like the tone right now is so off, you know?
Again, I hate to use this example, but it's the most over the top thing I've ever heard. putting people like Floyd Mayweather into women's boxing, you think you're helping trans people? Because if he declares himself,
it's the most extreme hyperbole because that's not what anyone's actually arguing for. Floyd Mayweather is a cis guy. He doesn't strike me as someone at all who would want to go by she, her, or would want people to refer to him as her, or who would want to identify as female or whatever else, right? Like, he doesn't strike me as that at all, and he hasn't made that clear to anybody in any sincere fashion. He's not taken any CRT. He's not taken any hormones. He's not, gotten bottom surgery. Like, no puberty blockers when he was growing up. Like, this is for all intents and purposes a cis guy. So yeah, I think even the most staunch of trans advocates also don't want Floyd Mayweather in women's sports because he's a guy. And it would put everyone at a tremendous disadvantage. Everyone in the competition. That being said, I mean, now that I'm mentioning that, of course, boxing is probably one of the better places for this type of thing to exist. It's, of the physical sports, maybe the closest to being quote-unquote fair, in the sense that, like, there are weight classes, which is, again, it's still not fair, it's still not really telling who's going to be a good boxer or not, just, like, by how much you weigh. But, like, your height, weight, arm span, like, these things you know about yourself and definitely can give you certain advantages over other fighters in that particular sport.
I know it's a stupid hypothetical by Piers Morgan, but you can't say yes to that hypothetical. You can't argue that that is the correct strategy for trans people because you're going to cost them their rights. And you have. We had it on bathrooms in the military. And then you morons insisted, no.
Wait, this is our fault? Wait, what?
These extra privileges are constitutional rights. You don't have a constitutional right to play in the WNBA.
What? Cenk is blaming people who said... Okay, so he's creating a fake group of trans advocates that said that Floyd Mayweather should be allowed to participate in women's boxing. And then saying that it's their fault that, like, rights for trans folks in bathrooms are being stripped away. Like, that's the fault of the made-up activists that believe the insanity that Cenk said about trans women in women's sports. Cenk wonders why people think that he's not on the left, or people wonder why he's not pro-trans. It's just like you're sort of crashing out right now in a way that doesn't seem very healthy, bro. I think it was Francesca Fiorentini who said that she was like, the vibe of TYT is just off. Like, she's been there for years. I remember watching her way back, maybe even when Hannah Cranston was still there, honestly. Maybe a little after. I remember Oh yeah, she was she was working with AJ Plus and was sort of collabing with TYT on different things. And I remember, like, it was just a more fun time. It was just a happier time. They took a shift towards, like, the more politics oriented stuff, and things have just gotten less fun and have gone significantly further downhill since, the aura, the vibes of the show right now, super off. Also, like, I know for a fact that John is just sitting there incredibly uncomfortably, knowing he's just like, okay, this is my boss. He's having one of his anti-trans, like, turf type moments. I don't think that Cenk actually is, in a sincere way, like, anti-trans. He's just really clunky in the way that he's trying to argue the points that he wants to make. And he does disagree on, like, some mainstream lefty positions on trans issues. Just, like, directly. But, like, John's in the room right now, like, super uncomfortable and wanting, like, he wants to actually try to talk through it with Cenk, but, like, he knows that it's fruitless. And so he just has to sit there while Cenk, like, freaks out over this one chatter for 2 minutes straight and starts strawmanning his position, suggesting that the chatter was, like, literally just, like, let Floyd Mayweather play in women's sports, or in women's boxing. Like what the fuck?
Don't! Okay, and when you insist on absurdities, you drive hatred towards that community. Stop hurting my community, the Muslim community. Stop hurting the trans community. Stop being so stupid.
Yeah. There is a level of the everyone that disagrees with me is stupid joke that works when you're sort of joking about it and being self-deprecating, but when you say it as extremely and seriously as Cenk just did, you know what I mean? It's just like, damn, bro, like, okay.
You want to learn the first rule? You'd know if you ever spent a day in your life. You never open your mouth till you know what the shot is.
Thanks, Bart. Support from the fucking soundboard.
All right, back on TYT, Cenk, John, and Jordan with you guys. Also,
John,
some guy and Amir.
John crying. Jordan, yeah, both of them just trying to keep straight face. They're like texting each other during the break. He's just like, oh my God, is this insane or what? You know, one day, John and or Jordan won't necessarily be at TYT. I think, well, that's not necessarily true. I think that both Jordan and John have some core beliefs about like trying to build a left-leaning movement that would make it very difficult for them to separate from TYT in a lot of ways, unless it was necessary or like TYT ran out of money and was dissolving. But I feel like they're similar to me in that I don't really want to I don't want to burn bridges. I don't want to cast people aside until they've really, really, really given me a reason to. You know what I mean? I still wish that Vosh and Anna could work together. I still wish, like there was a time when Vosh was very, very critical of Crystal Ball. I understood some of the criticisms of her at the time, but I saw her in a different light and thought, no, I actually think she's on the right side. I think she's on our side, and we just need to keep supporting her, even if we don't like Sagar. And we don't like the way in which she argues some points and the way in which she sort of can enable some of the more dangerous elements of the sort of quote-unquote right-wing populism that Sagar represents. And I see some elements, certainly, of the left that intentionally sort themselves out and push each other away when I feel like they're actually just like ideological disagreements that are okay for us to have and that we just need to like keep disagreeing on and making arguments for, and not like casting each other aside, turning away from one another, kind of in the way that it feels like Cenk was doing a little bit here. And in the way, certainly, that chatter was engaging in terms of the antagonistic framing. All of this was basically to point out that I think that John and Jordan are much like me in that they recognize the importance of building like these broader coalitions. And sometimes Uncle Cenk, you know, sometimes Unc gonna go off the deep end every once in a while on a social issue. And that's really uncomfortable, but the homie still wants paid family leave and minimum wage and like these really important, like crucial things that like just absolute bare minimum shit that we need to have dealt with for a long time. And so I don't want to cast aside these people because they hold a lot of sway. They hold a lot of influence, power, connections. It is a very, very good way to potentially push forward and get the things that we do want passed, right? And hence why I'm still here even watching TYT at this point, right? Like I have a lot of disagreements with them in the way that they've been framing things in recent months. And I've been watching significantly less. But I'm still holding out hope for them because I do believe that they still want, for the most part, good things to happen. And I want to be able to work with them on those things. And I don't insinuate, I don't out of the gate assume ill will from them. Sometimes it's just stupidity, and that's a shame. But I guess maybe it's more that I've grown in my own political analysis, and I've grown in my own, journey, trajectory, understanding politics, and the level at which they engaged that was really, really good for my onboarding as a progressive and eventually turning me more lefty into socialist. That's just not doing it for me anymore, and that's fine. But I'm not going to toss them aside because they still have a good group of people that we can mobilize, hopefully, to do good things or at least vote in the right directions and teach better arguments to be able to convince others to go in the right direction as well. So I was thinking about how uncomfortable John and Jordan are right now in the room or, wherever they are, and reflecting on how that might make them want to leave TYT. But at the same time, I think that they're thinking kind of what I am, in that Unc Cenk's gonna have his transphobic rant every once in a while. Let's just fucking suck that up and keep fighting the good fight, Look, I'll say this, I respect it. I think no one at TYT really is super afraid to share their disagreements with Cenk on this. It's just that, like, when he's super angry about, like, a pretty aggressive comment that he receives and he rants about it for 2 minutes, maybe now's not the time to make a big stink of it or to try and get Cenk to understand why the criticism exists to begin with. I don't know. Sorry, I'm also just trying to be a bit quieter so I don't wake up the upstairs neighbor.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to do one comment here real quick.
Is it another mad one? Oh man, it was the Vanguard. It was the Vanguard leaked audio, fucking video. Yeah, bro. I watched this too, and I was like, yo, they are making some crazy fucking assumptions and accusations. I'm almost like, it's irresponsible, and it's clear what they're doing and why they're doing it. But I've never gotten a great vibe from the Vanguard, man. I'm telling you.
Now, after
Insane.
suffering this great defeat, he's decided to adopt the ideology that to win, you actually don't have to fight. No, in order to win, you must fight. You must fight to win. That's like
he's making a different point. The Vanguard is strawmanning him a bit, but maybe if you only listen to this one piece of audio, then you would probably think that. I think that he obviously believes that you should fight against the Democrats. We're disagreeing on whether or not we should try to be friendly with the Republicans.
the #1 rule of war, but also politics, to be honest. I mean, that's crazy to say that, oh, by surrendering, by laying down our weapons, and let's try the peacemaker approach, that somehow that's going to get us to where we need to be in defeating this fascist administration.
This is why you cannot trust Cenk.
That's not what again. That's not what he said, but I understand the sentiment.
This is why you cannot take Cenk at face value. I used to, for a long time, sit in this chair and be like, well, Cenk is a mixed bag. He's 50-50. If you get him on Piers Morgan and he's talking about Palestine, he's really good. No, you cannot trust Cenk further than you could throw him, and I can't pick his heavy ass up, okay? I don't trust him. First, he did that by dismissing and diminishing the horrors and the threat of Donald Trump and his rise and his fascist impulses. He did that.
No, he didn't do that. Nah. That was Anna a lot more than it was Cenk. Cenk had some significant pushback when Anna was saying some stupid shit. And he literally, like, they did do the Trump brackets where it was like, hey, let's rank the 64 worst things Trump has ever done. And they talked about that and, like, covered him and his disastrous potential outcomes as president, like, for over a year prior. And so it's like, when people like the Vanguard make this type of argument, I understand why now, at least to some extent, why Cenk and Anna sort of reflexively respond by everyone, like, with the straw man arguments, because this is a straw man. Like, you can't say that Cenk downplayed the potential possibility of Trump being elected. He said many, many times, that is I'm doing everything I can to get Trump not elected.
Which is, what are we supposed to do? Do we just have to twiddle our thumbs and let fascism overrun?
And he's certainly not saying that. He's not saying what Hakeem Jeffries is saying. He actually criticized Jeffries. So this is a bit disingenuous as well.
Cenk and Kyle did start Justice Democrats, and it was successful. And immediately afterwards, Cenk got kicked out because he wrote a bunch of cringy shit back in the day. And then Cenk went down and basically validated every single criticism that the people of Justice Democrats had of him, is that he was not sincere, that it was...
No. It's not that he wasn't sincere. It's just that, like, no, to be honest with you, that, like, sort of purity bullshit that the Justice Dems, like, kicked him out over was kind of unironically a problem with the Justice Dems, man. They really should not have made that big of a deal over his, like, old articles. What wasn't he sincere about in the Justice Dems, like, founding principles? Getting money out of politics? You think Cenk's not sincere about that? Increasing minimum wage? Pay family? You think he's not sincere about these things? Medicare for all? Of course he was. It's not that he was insincere about these things. That's wild mischaracterization.
It's all for clout, that he really didn't care about the movement.
All for clout? Didn't care about the movement? Insane. Insane to say. Like, just criticize him for having a dumb strategy, if that's what you want to say. Like, just say that.
And it was all about his own, ladder climbing aspirations that he did this, and for more clout, and to kind of try and break...
Ladder climbing aspirations? You just made so many assumptions. Come on, mate.
Not only that, Cenk is looking for another revenue source. I seriously believe this, guys. I seriously believe that he is running out of cash, and he has to do anything in order to bring money into his books, and he is 1,000,000% going to pay himself. He is 1,000,000% going to pay himself to run this organization, and I believe it's because he doesn't have the money to pay himself from TYT's books anymore. So he has...
What? What are you implying?
to find another way to generate an income for himself, and he's going to do what every trashy liberal does, which is to start some foundation and pay themselves $250 grand a year, or whatever he's going to decide his salary is worth, which is going to be basically all the money you donate to him, okay? And then he's going to use that to basically pad his bottom line as he pretends to do activism, right?
100%.
No, disagree. I don't know. I feel like I can't really say anything more than that, because you're just completely guessing about his intentions. And I feel like if you watched him for long enough, then you wouldn't necessarily have these intentions, these default assumptions. But whatever.
From Super Chat, Ryan Isbell wrote, and Wolfpack has been fighting to get money out of politics for 14 years. How's that going for them, Cenk? Your own logic for Nancy Pelosi used against.
Oof. Okay. Yeah. See, just more aggression. These comments aren't helpful. Don't get too mad about this one, Cenk, bro. Just let this one go. I agree. Wolfpack has, it's not been a complete failure, but certainly we haven't gotten any closer towards the goal that it was set out to do, and it doesn't really seem feasible at the moment. And in fact, in terms of the consequences of corruption within American government, I mean, we are at the peak. We are at the height. It's almost never been more corrupt. It's if Wolfpack was meant to sort of try to at least stem that bleeding or reverse course, even remotely, it's done quite the opposite, unfortunately. But that's a factual criticism, and I'm not coming after Cenk for that. He tried, and I respect the hell out of him for trying. I didn't do shit towards getting money out of politics. I've done nothing in my life towards that end, right? So I'm not gonna sit on some high horse and be like, well, you didn't even get this accomplished. But I also do sympathize a little bit with what the commenter's saying. It's just bro, you can't, if you wanted him to react, it's important for Cenk right now to recognize that these comments are clearly just trying to bait him, and that he needs to not take it too seriously, because if this commenter is being sincere, then they're just fucking moronic. I don't know how to, they can't be helped.
You. Oh, you're so clever, Ryan. So the guys at Wolfpack are mechanics and electricians and nurses, etc. They're all beautiful American people, not involved in politics otherwise.
And gorgeous.
They're trying to get money out of politics. How's it going? They miraculously won in 5 states, including California, and including states like Illinois in the middle of the country. They did amazing.
Yeah, they literally did
work.
something. What have you done, bitch?
99% of people there are volunteers. There's a couple of guys who get paid so terribly there. Nobody else has ever taken any money from Wolfpack. They're barely surviving. The Democratic Party, the establishment Democrats, came in and just torpedoed Wolfpack. They called all the state legislators at the Democratic level and said, don't you dare be in favor of a convention. And they did overwhelming propaganda. And they even have liberal hosts like Tom Hartman doing dumbass propaganda against a convention that could get you an amendment and actually bring you real change and take money out of politics.
True.
So what are you gonna do? You're gonna blame those poor guys because you'd like to score a point against me? Okay, fine, blame me. I didn't magically get money out of politics, even though we've been trying so effing hard for the last 14 years. Are you happy now? Okay, okay, great. Oh, you failed at getting money out of politics. What the hell did you do? Tell me.
Right, yeah. See now, this is the, you see how, if you're trying to have an actual conversation, the way that I just approached it would have been the way better way to approach it, right? Where I basically said, I stated factually, yeah, it's been a failure, but not for lack of trying, and it's not the fault of the pack, and it's not the fault of Cenk or anyone. The system that is the winds that blow, the gods that be, willed it not. And I can't really complain about Wolfpack not accomplishing its goals. What the fuck, right? Because again, I'm self-aware. What the fuck have I done to get money out of politics? Jack shit, right? So at least the homie tried. I think it's important for Cenk not to get too angry about these particular criticisms, because either they're intentionally constructed to get you to rage, or these people are really stupid and you're accidentally reacting to their misunderstanding, and you're giving them more content that makes them feel like you're actually kind of crazy. They hear you reacting like this and feel validated regardless of how true you are. What you're saying is. I think Cenk just needs to get a little bit better. I'm just saying, constructive criticism. Hopefully, I don't want this to come across as condescending, because I don't react the best either. But channeling the anger that you have towards these bullshit criticisms, trying to make jokes about it, or deflecting, or just not taking it too seriously and just calling whoever the person was like a name or something and moving on. I don't know. Just like don't take it to heart, because it feels like it feels like it's getting to you a little bit right now, and that's kind of exactly what they want.
Who's this idiot? Ryan, moron, what did you do? What did you do to get money out of politics? What did you do?
Yeah, you could. My response to this would be like, Ryan, you're a retard. Okay, I will not elaborate. Moving on. That would be funny as hell, and makes it clear to you and to them that you don't care about them, and you're moving on because what you just said is really dumb, and we'll just leave it at that. Right? You don't need to give dumbasses airtime on your show unless you really have a good point to make. But certainly this could be handled better. But I'm also not complaining. I'd get pretty mad if I spent a lot of time working on Wolfpack and getting volunteers to get this shit done, and through all their hard work and toil, they succeeded, at least in slight ways and partial, sort of more symbolic ways, but couldn't get the job done, unfortunately. And it's like you put a lot of thought and organization, hard work into it, and it doesn't pan out, and then people come after you and the people who ran it. Yeah, I'd be mad too. Don't get it twisted. I understand Cenk's anger. It's just, yeah, it could probably be channeled a little bit better. That's all.
To improve the Democratic Party? What did you do to defeat Trump? What did you do productive? What did you build? What did you build? Did you build anything? No. So unfortunately, we have a giant left-wing spectrum, okay? There's a tiny percentage at the very, 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 very end of it. And all they like to do, because they're radicals by nature, that's why they're at the end of the spectrum. They think maximum super extreme policies on everything drive the American people to hate our entire side.
And it was the last track on both.
Anything. Never be productive, instead burn everything
never
down.
Built one.
Oh, there's someone on our side who doesn't agree with me 1%? Well, I'm the god. I set left-wing policy. So if he doesn't agree with me 1%, burn it down. What did you build? And my answer for the radical left is, so far in my history, in having done this for 25, 30 years, the radical left has built nothing. They are destroyers. All they do is destroy. So I'm not interested in that. So if you're a radical left and you want the most extreme policies that the American people absolutely hate, and you want to tear down everyone else on the left, I'm going to fight you. I'm not going.
That's fair enough. Jay, again, the vibes of the show, very, very way off. All I'm saying is, I think I walk a pretty thin line. I think I'm doing it just fine. What do I say? I criticize TYT, but I still like him. Matter of fact, at the end of all my videos, I think that the first video I did about Cenk was his conversation with Brian Tyler Cohen, where he was basically trying to justify the Charlie Kirk America PAC thing and blah, 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 blah. And I remember at the very end of the video, I basically said, don't hate Cenk. He's still a friend, but like he can be a little silly sometimes. And he makes some dumb arguments every once in a while. Even at the end of this most recent video, or second most recent video, because I just uploaded the AOC one earlier. The TYT interview with Lindy Lee. I had some criticism for how TYT handled the interview, but at the end I was like, oh, I think actually TYT handled this pretty well. Even though I didn't like the guest and I didn't like what she had to say. There were some arguments that were made that I didn't like, some capitulations that I didn't love, but like for the most part, it was like, okay, I can't be too mad about this, you know? Like I came here to get mad. Oh, I leave only thinking that Lindy Lee's kind of dumb and like super easily manipulated and whatever else. And then at the end I say, don't hate TYT, strongly criticize them. But you don't have to like Lindy Lee. That's just vibes. She's probably, I don't know exactly what her deal is, but you don't need to trust it. Is all I'm saying. And you know what I mean? Because then I'm at the spot with TYT where it's just simply, oh yeah, well, like we just disagree on that. But like obviously we want the same shit. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's really easy. Like David Pacman, Brian Tyler Cohen, like there's a lot of people on the left who understand this. I don't know. There are some aspects of the left, I swear, like especially the more radical, the more super far left, that are so willing and easy to just like dismiss people. Bro, I still like, I've not paid any attention to the Destiny drama, but like every once in a while I'll go like see Destiny debates this person on the fucking red pill right or something, and I'm like, all right, well, like maybe there's something interesting here. Maybe Destiny makes some good arguments, something that I can like take away and sort of tuck into my quiver of tools for debate and argument sake, you know. And I'm like, all right, well, like Destiny's probably a shit person. That doesn't mean that he's still not, that he doesn't make some good arguments sometimes. That's fine. You know, no, I'm not saying I'm a huge Destiny stan. I don't like the guy that much for a number of reasons. I hear the drama about him most recently is really bad too. But whatever. They said the same about Vosh. Vosh is cool too. Vosh is cool to me. I don't care. And his thing was way blown out of proportion. Anyway, like, you see what I'm saying? Like, I was one of the people who watched the Hills Rising, when it was Crystal and Sagar, what eventually morphed into them, resigning from the Hill and starting breaking points between the two of them. And a lot of people on the left were criticizing Crystal, and I was like, yo, I think she's actually on the right side. And I think it's important for us to pay attention to the things that Sagar's saying, because some of these talking points are really going to make sense to a lot of people, especially when I was just getting invested in politics. This was the first right-winger that, quote-unquote, made sense to me. And why? Because I was uneducated, and because he was using economic populist talking points. Literally. And I was like, whoa, why? I didn't realize he was like almost literally a Nazi. Why are some of his talking points like resonating with me so much? And that was something that I was like, oh, I really need to dig into that. That's actually super interesting. And I found Crystal and Sagar's dynamic to be useful in that sense. I'm sort of getting a lens and insight into how the conservatives are thinking about constructing their arguments, especially when constantly, day in, day out, being challenged from your political opposite. That is Crystal, who is just an outright socialist. She is not mincing words. Like, she is a full-on socialist as far as I'm aware. And I was like, okay, like, so when you're getting challenged on the daily by the socialists, and then you see how a smart guy like Sagar responds to that and tries to construct an argument that's going to play to his his right-wing populist base, there's some valuable information to glean from that, especially for me, who was just like coming up into politics. And so it's like, I thought it was valuable. A lot of people were being like, Crystal, we have to toss her aside because she's willing to talk with Sagar. And I was just like, yo, like, can we relax? I was just like, yo, we can't be that fast to throw people out like that. You know, it's not going to be helpful for us in the long run. And I sympathize a lot with what Cenk's saying. It's just, I just don't think he's making the argument the way I am right now. Man, it's 2:30 a.m., bro. Why am I still up? I can't believe I talked for that long on this. I hope it's clear. If I ever turn this into a video, I'm going to try my best not to talk too much about TYT. We're going to have to like make a quota of like TYT can only be in one out of every 4 videos maximum. You know what I mean? Because I don't want to like focus on them too much. It's just I'm so attached to them, especially as being someone who grew up listening to them, that I feel sort of obligated to give my opinion sometimes on like how they're engaging with the left right now, in the hopes that some random TYT viewer comes across, hears what I have to say, and be like, oh, okay, I mean, like, I see where you're coming from, but like, we still like TYT and blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? And recognize that like, there's a constituency of the TYT viewers or of people on the left who can see what TYT is saying, criticize them, be like, you're wrong, we disagree. But also, let's keep working together, and let's not like turn this into like some insane bullshit, you know? I don't know. Pie in the sky, those dreams, I guess.
That the American people absolutely hate, and you want to tear down everyone else on the left. I'm going to
vibes are off.
Fight you. I'm not going to say, oh my God, I'm so scared. Oh, are you going to cancel me? Or are you going to, you're going to say some bad things about me? You already do anyway, because you're a bunch of morons. So come at me, come on, let's go. And all reasonable people, all people who actually believe in 99% of Democratic voters, who actually want to get positive things done in this country, who want paid family leave, who want Medicare for all, who want these things, higher wages, who cares about
They're the ones who are reaching out to Charlie Kirk. They're the ones that are talking to Dr. Phil, asking them for advice, okay? If you want paid family leave, you talk to Charlie Kirk right now.
People, and who doesn't want to play silly culture wars. I'm more pure, I'm more.
Oh, it's a good thing that all the people that you work with have zero interest in playing with the culture wars and don't make that like a huge component of like their politics.
Me. Okay, I'm not interested in your crap. Take your crap somewhere else. Don't worry, there's a million shows now. They'll feed you that crap every day, that crap sandwich. Oh yeah, we're the purists.
Crap sandwich.
Yell Nazi louder. Oh, I'm sorry, I burned him down, I burned him. What did you burn down?
The vibes are off. I'm sorry, I just don't know how else to say it. TYT used to be a cool place, a happy place to go get some progressive news. Even if shit was falling apart, there was at least a little bit of pep in the step, you know? If I was a right-winger, I would be, like, really happy and excited that Cenk's getting, like, so triggered or something. But I actually feel, like, quite bad. Because I think, like, he perceives a bunch of people lying about him, which is true. In the case of the Vanguard, like, that most recent video they did where they supposedly exposed the audio. Well, I mean, it's the title is 100% clickbait. It's like TYT exposed secret meeting with, and it wasn't and they basically admitted very early on in the video, okay, I guess it wasn't that secret of a meeting. I guess we're really not exposing something, but it was members only. So, but this is what Cenk's saying to his members, to those to the TYT army. This is what he's saying internally, and it was like. I mean, he's saying it publicly. It's just, it's gate kept behind like a paywall. You could very easily pay and see what he's saying. You know, he didn't intend to keep it a secret. He intended to tell people what his plans are. Cenk's correct in assessing, especially this time, that the Vanguard is 100% clickbaiting, 100% just trying to ride off of TYT's coattails a little bit. Coming at TYT with insane, over-the-top speculation, and, well, since Cenk is Cenk and he knows he's not taking the money, just like outright lies, he sees zero good faith from them, and he also recognizes that it's harming TYT's reputation as well. Though Cenk and Anna are harming TYT's reputation fine enough on their own, personally, but like, sure, this doesn't help, right? The Vanguard, like, hitting on them and huge chunks of the left coming and bashing them doesn't help their lefty cred. And especially in this case where it was done in, I think, genuinely pretty significantly bad faith. Cenk's, like, valid in feeling as angry as he does. It's just, I feel like this isn't the way to respond to it. Like, he's melting down live on air. It's a bit of a crash out. I don't even know. I don't want to, because I don't want to make it. I actually think, like, TYT is the sympathetic character here. I should make that very clear. I still don't love the right-wing turn that they've been taking recently, or what seems like a right-wing turn. You know, they will insist that their beliefs are still very progressive and left-wing, and a lot of them are. Hence why I've not dropped off from them or cast them aside. But to me, I think there's no doubting that they're definitely casting aside at least some of the rhetoric and some of the way that they've gone about talking on these issues. And I think they've been clear about it, right? They've been saying, hey, we're changing our positions. Seeing how angry Cenk gets makes me feel a little bit of hope for TYT in that, like, they're not going to be... Hopefully they can hang around and continue pushing people towards more progressive politics. That's all I'm saying. I'm really crossing my fingers and hoping that will continue. Honest to God, it feels like Anna could or should leave TYT and it would honestly become better. At this point, it feels that way. I think Anna unintentionally soiling the brand of TYT. Like, she swears that she's doing some sort of, like, enlightened centrist thing where actually the left is just so cringe and blah, blah, blah. Like, Destiny basically took this path. Or it was like, oh, I can't even associate with the left anymore because they're so insane. And it's just like, you have, like, some weird feelings inside you that you've not worked out. Or some, like, personal beef with certain lefty content creators that is, like, entirely informing your decisions here on politics. I really don't know how you figure the constant, like, Megyn Kelly collaborations, like, agreeing with a huge percentage of her very not progressive points. Like, all I'm saying is it's really important to be careful who we associate with, because it's like, it's not just, I keep saying it's not just enough to agree with people's assessment of the problem, right? We have to agree on the solutions. People like Megyn Kelly, people like Glenn Beck, all these people, they'll say they acknowledge the corruption. They'll say they acknowledge that, families can't afford things right now. All of their reasons for how that came to be and all of their reasons for all their solutions for how to solve those problems are completely different from ours. And so it's like, when you go onto their show and then you give them a bunch of credit and treat them like besties because they agreed that a problem exists, whilst not acknowledging and saying, and as their base entirely knows, that their solution to the problem is 100% different, then it's like you're not really doing anything. You're not actually convincing those right-wingers who believe different solutions that your solution's better. You're just patting them on the back and patting them on the head and saying, good job, you recognize that corruption exists. Congratulations, yay. Keep that up. You guys are really bucking your donor wing. You guys are really destroying the establishment of your own party by sure acknowledging that corruption exists. Wow, congratulations. Of course, they won't acknowledge it when it exists with their dear leader, but whatever, we just pretend that that doesn't exist, or they say, or they acknowledge that the corruption exists, but say that they like it, you know, again, because they're a cult. So it's just like, it's really important that we make sure that we dig a little bit deeper than simply acknowledging that problems exist, and be a little bit more critical. I'm not saying you can't go talk to Glenn Beck. I'm not saying you can't go talk to Megyn Kelly, but don't go in there with the premise of, we're trying to be really friendly. We're not trying to have too many disagreements. We're not trying to have this be a debate. We're trying to find where we agree. No. Like, you want to find agreement? Fine. Find the agreement and force them to take the progressive position. Be aggressive and force them to agree, not just that the problem exists, but here's why that problem came to be, and here's how you solve it. Here's how you get to the core issue. Have them concede on those points. Then they will believe the left-leaning or the progressive position, or what you want to call it, Cenk, the populist position. And then we can give them credit, and then we can say, congratulations, it seems like you understand the problem now. We can move on. We can work on this. Because then I would take them seriously. But they don't get there. They only acknowledge that the problem exists. And a lot of their engagements with people on these shows are inconsistent in how they challenge those guests and how they push those guests to be more progressive. Apparently, Jillian Michaels saying, backing off her transphobia on like trans women in women's bathrooms or whatever. Apparently, I honest to God wouldn't doubt that, even though Cenk says he got that concession out of her, that she won't like a few days or weeks later say the exact opposite because it's convenient. But whatever, like, you know, I don't think that she believes that there's a core issue there, right? She's just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna not be intentionally bigoted on this one issue. I don't know. What's my point? All my point is to say, I don't know. I guess I've just been criticizing TYT now for like 5 minutes, but I'm still here. I'm still going to listen to them. I'm still going to watch them, and I'm still going to criticize them. I still believe that at their core, they care about progressive issues and want to get to progressive solutions. I don't think they're doing a great job right now, and that's why I'm here to criticize them, but I'm not casting them aside. I'm not saying, oh, they're super corrupt. I'm not saying, oh, they're bought out, they're blah, blah. Granted, it is funny to go from polymarket populism to prize picks populism, like, very quickly, but at least the studio's not named after it anymore. I don't even blame Cenk. Like, he's got to do what he has to do to keep the business afloat. It's just, man, I hate gambling sites. I'd really try to get, like, any other sponsor, frankly. What was I talking about? Fuck. Oh. Yeah, I was just trying to defend TYT a little bit. I don't think that they're bought out. I don't think that they're, like, I just think that they have a kind of dumb strategy right now, and we should just call that out, and that's fine. But, like, there's no reason to cast them out from the left or just assume that they've turned right-wing for no reason. Point out the reasons you think they've turned right-wing. I think Anna, definitely, you can make an argument, has actually straight up changed her positions on certain issues in recent years. Cenk, I think, still hanging on to the thread. Not very tightly these days, but he's hanging in there. I just like to see them get back to the old TYT a little bit. I want them to have a little bit more fun. I don't want them to be, like, so angry and hateful towards the left. I want the left to stop being so hateful towards TYT. Like, dude, all you need to do is disagree with the shit that they say. It's not that difficult. I'm just saying they make it really hard too. I get it, because they respond to criticism of them by basically saying now, oh, well, you're stupid and then straw man. You don't want to work with the right. You don't want to do anything. You could have $15 minimum wage on the table right in front of you, and you would say no just because Trump did it or something. You know what I mean? Oh, you want Floyd Mayweather to literally be in women's boxing, and then pretend that that's like the entire left, or like a huge part of the fringe left, or again, like, do the job that Republicans are doing in validating or legitimizing the idea that the left has these incredibly radical and extreme views, and that's like the brand of the party that's making us unelectable, as opposed to all of the actual concrete reasons that our Democrats are mealy-mouthed, uninspiring, visionless, dickless, do-nothing jackoffs that that accomplish literally nothing and promise the world, you know. Or they don't even put on the facade of doing anything, really. It feels like a lot of the time. And it's like, okay, like instead of focus on that, let's validate the right-wing argument that no, actually, the American people just don't like gays and trans, and they hate this woke stuff, and you got to get it out or else, right? You know why the American people believe that? Because the Republicans have effectively messaged on those issues. Our answer isn't to just take the loss and be like, well, I guess we've lost on those issues because it's not polling well anymore. Our answer is to find better ways to make the obviously, objectively, morally correct arguments. We steer the narrative, or rather, we could steer the narrative. It's just that Republicans are taking control of it right now. I don't know. The fuck am I even trying to say, dude? Come back, TYT. Please bring back the fun times. I genuinely, it just feels so sad seeing TYT like this.
And other than the Democratic Party, other than the left, other than a single accomplishment, you've never fought for any of the bills. You've never fought for policy. This audience has fought for policies and for positive results. We fought for Bernie. We fought for Progressive Pledge. We fought for the populist plan. We fought for $15 minimum wage. We fought for all of these things. And yes, at Wolfpack, I'm so proud of those guys. They fight with all that they have for it. Wolf-pack.com. For God's sake, if you're gonna try to burn someone's house down, go for it. I know you pyromaniac loser radicals, that's all you have in your arsenal. But once, when you're at home, can you just ask yourself, look in the mirror and go, wait, have I ever built anything in my life? Instead of just yapping, have I actually tried to pass it?
I'm yapping.
Have I for one second thought, how do I help people?
So I've thought about that a lot, but like I am not in any position to be able to do that. I've not like a huge like root in the community, in my local community or whatever else. Granted, I could go out there and start building that. I'm not sure. I'm just saying that I'm not like a key figure here, right? There are people who have a lot more power, a lot more recognition, notoriety, for lack of a better word, that would be way better suited to the things that Cenk's talking about than I am. At least right now. Again, it's something I could work on, no doubt. I'm not trying to make excuses. It's just, I do like yapping, and I do think about how we improve these things. It's just that I see the daunting task ahead and think I don't know that I can do that right now. So I don't really commit to it, which makes me weak. I get it. But I'm also not the one that's like throwing out the super aggressive questioning and accusations towards TYT. I still think that they can be redeemed.
How do I pass a bill that affects people's lives? How do I get people elected? How do I get them elected? What happens after they get elected? How do you hold them accountable? No, all you've ever done is, I am so pure. Since I have the most radical policies, since I'm the least popular person in America, I'm the purest. Yes, but what's step 2 and what's step 3? How do you actually help the average American?
You advocate.
Oh, you haven't thought of it. Of course you have. Now watch. After this, of course, it'll go viral because like the guys, what do they call that thing at the bottom of a boat? Whatever they are, right? Mm-hmm. After they get this and they'll do videos about it, oh my God, we got more videos on Young Turks. Well, we're such losers that our whole lives are centered around the Young Turks. What pathetic.
Damn. I like watching TYT, man. Like, again, the vibes are off, man. I feel like I'm being attacked. I've been very deferential. I'm not full of myself. I know that I'm just like a fucking yapper on the internet. It is what it is. I don't feel personally attacked, but Cenk's doing his absolute hardest to make me feel like I'm attacked. How would Cenk respond if the person that threw out this criticism towards him was like someone in the DSA who had also been like working their hardest to get policy passed and also hadn't been very successful? Like, would he feel like an ass for saying that this person's an idiot and recognize that they actually just disagree? Or, yeah, I don't know. It's, again, I think that look, the chatter started this truly, right? Like, the chatter came in fucking swinging. Man, I keep reflecting on how fucking tense it must feel in that fucking studio right now. You know what I mean? I'm just like, this is not comfortable to watch. It's not good to look at, man. Like, TYT just didn't used to be like this. When Cenk got angry, it was like a justifiable anger towards the establishment and the people in power, not like tiny retarded aspects of the left. You know what I mean? I don't know.
Pathetic losers. Oh, I criticize Young Turks for a living. You must be so effing proud. Okay, so they'll get this, and then you know what they'll do in the next day?
There's plenty of room for media critic. It's important to criticize people where you think that they're making dumb arguments. And it's important to substantiate your reasons for why TYT is making dumb arguments. I think it's very fair to say in that last video that the Vanguard did not do a very good job. It was a lot of ad hominem. It was a lot of, frankly, just complete conjecture and making shit up and speculation that's not really rooted in much of anything. And so in this case, like the Vanguard, yeah, that was a hit job. That shit was not great. But I also think it's a little unfair to go against the people who criticize you on the internet, right? Like, there's value to that, right? You criticize the same way you should be allowed to criticize and tell Fox News off and say to the TYT audience, none of you should watch Fox News. You're allowed to say that. That's not your entire job, and that's not the only thing that the Vanguard does either. But, you know, point being that, like, you're on the internet, you're in political media, like, so, like, the criticisms are going to come your way, dude. Like, don't be surprised by that.
All of a sudden, the radical left, the 13 losers online, will go then and be like, oh yeah? Oh no, we had a plan all along. What was our plan? What was our plan to get people elected and pass bills and get Medicare? Oh right, we yelled Nazi louder than you. Which voters did that win over?
We yelled Nazi louder than you. We didn't just yell it, like, we pointed it out. Like, we made the comparisons. We said, yeah, the guy's like an outright authoritarian, racist, like, says out loud he wants to be a dictator type dude. Like, I don't know, I think we should take that shit pretty seriously. He wants to be the leader of the fucking free world. He's now allied himself even tighter with Netanyahu and Putin. He's cracking down on media being in the press rooms and during the press briefings and basically restricting which questions can be asked. He's allowing his minion, Elon Musk, minion, you could say, more like shadow president, to go and fucking make wild, insane, over-the-top cuts to a bunch of industries, destroying huge swaths of the federal government. Dog, he talked about how this is the last election that you'll need to vote for me in. You'll never have to vote for Republicans again after this election, he said. Like, I'm just, like, all of these are very, very substantive reasons why you might lean towards, hey, these are all behaviors of somebody who is a Nazi or a neo-Nazi or something of or has a lot of overlapping characteristics and qualities of a Nazi. That is like an objective point and a substantiated point that we're making. If it didn't pull people over, that's one argument. That's just, you're just saying that's an optics thing. Okay, that's fine. But I don't think that was the only tactic that people were using either. Like, what? Like, again, it's more straw man of like, oh, this is the only thing that the left believes in is calling Trump a Nazi. Again, that's what the right wingers say. You're taking their talking points because that's not all that the left wing says. You can just be like appropriately dismissal of the people who make those claims without substantiating them. But there are very good reasons to make the comparison.
How did that help get to the right conclusion?
It helped me in recognizing that it was vital to get Trump out of office and to advocate for everybody voting for Kamala Harris, even if I don't fucking like her, even if I don't like her position on Israel, because where did that end us? I think it was actually really effective rhetoric for like radicalizing people and pushing them even more against Trump. It was necessary if we wanted to win, but whatever. And see, now I'm not even sure who we're talking about. Are we talking about the radical left? Or are we talking about the sort of mainstream left that called Trump Nazis? Like the Maddow types? I don't know.
Conclusion. What's your goddamn plan? And watch, they will all pretend to have a plan. Right now, you go back and watch their videos early. Did they ever have a plan for passing anything that helped?
I think Cenk's standard for plan here is, like, I'm sure that we've all thought of what we can do. But I think what he means for plan is like a plan of action. Are you taking action outside of just like, you know, talking on your soapbox? For me personally, fuck no. I like talking. I like yapping in my little YouTube space. Okay, get over it.
Your life, zero. And now they'll pretend they have a plan, but I can't wait for them to pretend because they're going to come up with the most comical, dumbest plans in the whole world. Well, if you're more pure and you sign for the most extreme policies, we will magically win. Okay, where's the goddamn magic? What is step 2? What is step 3? How do you actually help the American people? But you don't care about the American people. You don't care about the left. You don't care about anyone but your own stupid ego. Sorry, John, next story.
Finally getting their reactions. Jordan just very awkwardly trying not to look too deeply into the camera. John looking down, very uncomfortably tense. I feel like the kid in the room who knows I'm not getting yelled at. It's like someone else's parent that's doing the yelling at the kid, but I still feel like I'm in trouble. You know what I mean? Like, I know you're not yelling at me, but like, why do I feel shame still?
It's okay. I want now to transition to a light story for everyone's sake, but unfortunately all I have is this one. So we're gonna do this.
Nice, thanks, John. The only bit of light that is in the room at TYT at that moment. Oh my God.
This one, but it does involve a
TYT Power Panel. Cenk Uygur, Jordan Yule stayed over. Thank you for being with us, brother, and let me yell for about 20 minutes straight in the last hour.
Yeah,
Sharon
for real.
Sharon, hey, Sharon and Jordan are both on Rebel Headquarters. It's a
Is he crushing it?
great channel on YouTube. Make
Like
sure you're
Jordan
checking
is
that
just
out.
like, yeah.
Sharon, you got news for us.
He's like, we gotta make this work, dog. I'll do what it takes. True fighter. Jordan's the real homie in the trenches, mate. What have you done? I haven't done shit. This Jordan, that version of me, he done a lot.